It is 2 days until my next HYROX race, and I just wanted to restart here because HYROX isn't going anywhere. It's not slowing down. The hype is still incredible, and I was reflecting on the fact that I did this exact same race 3 years ago, and I thought there's so much that I could share and that I could tell you guys about the upcoming race, as well as last year's race and the one before, and this will be race number 9 for me. So I thought I'll grab myself a tea and we can have a chit chat. I'm gonna be racing my 9th HYROX this Friday with my partner Elise, and me and Elise raced our last HYROX together back in 2024. Yeah, November 2024. We got 107, and we actually made a little error because we actually raced at the wrong time, and so our laps weren't counted properly. We're not gonna make that mistake this time. We're gonna make sure that we are on at the right time, which is 8 a.m. on Friday morning. It's currently Wednesday, and I did a strength session this morning. I'll talk a bit about the taper when we get into maybe the things to know for race day, but I just wanted to use this video to talk about my journey because it very much correlates to my journey with training for performance, because the race that I did in January 2023 was the start of everything that was to come, and really what transformed me as a person and my mindset and my training, and just made me into a better person. Because I think until then, I did have a purpose with my training, but I was always training for aesthetics, which are fine to train for, and we do love an aesthetic. And I do often still get sucked back into that aesthetic goal. It gets the better of us sometimes, but I think to have your main goals centered around performance, something that's a bit more aligned with you as a person. I just always have struggled with the training for aesthetics because it looks one way and internally it could feel completely different. Generally, if you're training and you're performing well, you're gonna look good as well. And you look better when you're confident, when you feel like you're looking after yourself, when you're thriving from the inside out. That looks way better than, you know, any amount of delt or glute could look, in my opinion, because I've never had, you know, the largest anything, and you know what, you never will have those things. There's always more to chase, there's always more to get. And so at least when you are training for performance, just chasing progress, and progress can be anything. It can be mental, physical, it can be a race time, and so it just feels a lot more nurturing and positive, and that is why I love training for performance. So let's just rewind. I did my first HYROX race in January 2023. Today, it is the 21st of January 2026. So it has been a while. I'm still doing HYROXes. My first year of training for performance kicked off with that first HYROX. I was actually meant to do a HYROX in 2022 with a friend that then moved to Australia, and I just saw that as a get out of jail card when she left. I thought, oh, what a shame, I can't do this HYROX. I was that girl that didn't really want to do it, didn't really understand why people did it, and was very intimidated by the thought of it. Then me and a friend thought, let's sign up. Back then, tickets were like £80, which is unheard of now. And back then, the track was pretty empty, or it was kind of empty. There was a lot less people racing, and I got into HYROX through the gym that I was working at in Manchester. Loads of the people and the members were racing HYROX, and some of the coaches were doing really well. Some of them got flags, they were thriving. They were like, try this HYROX thing. But I jumped in when the initial hype was kind of kicking off, in my opinion. Though I would say like the hype is still now, which is why we're making this video, because I think you guys should all give it a go. But me and Georgia, we did HYROX, we trained for it a little bit, we gave it our best go. There wasn't all this like information online about how to do it. I think I watched a video of a guy that gave a bit of an overview of HYROX. Like there wasn't any like big names doing HYROX back then, in my opinion. And this guy made a YouTube video about his HYROX, and the reason why he did it was because he wanted a purpose to train over the winter, and it was in January, and he thought, yeah, perfect, this will keep me in check over Christmas. And I thought, I need that. I need results in check a little bit, because I know I get complacent. So, you know, if I've got this reason to show up for my gym sessions when I'm back home over Christmas, we're gonna do it. So me and Georgia, we did our race, and it was just women's doubles open. I've only ever done women's doubles open and mixed doubles open. I've never done a pro category, but we set out with not much of a plan, gave it our best shot, and smiled the whole way through, and it was so hard. And I think the sled push and sled pull I did a little bit more on, and there was some other bits that Georgia did a bit more on, but we got through it. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I'd recently got my Whoop band, and if you want to try out Whoop, I'll put my link below because you'll get 1 month free. But I just got my Whoop band, and I remember looking at it afterwards, and it said that I was in zone 5 for 59 minutes of the race, which is, I've never managed to match that since. That is like unheard of. I was fully redlining. I was struggling the whole entire way, and you know, maybe if you were to do HYROX now for the first time, maybe it wouldn't be the case, like, because there's so many more people that are like, make sure you start steady, you don't want to redline, you want to take it a bit easier, maybe then you wouldn't be in zone 5. But in my opinion, I just think if you're doing anything for the first time, it's gonna be really hard. You're gonna get caught up in the adrenaline, and you're in the start pen, there's so much energy, and ultimately it's quite easy to end up in zone 5 for the full time. But we got 1 hour 25, which we were really happy with. We were so buzzing. It was such a good time, especially when less people were racing it back then. And then I just remember reflecting on the race and thinking, it's my running that needs the most improvement. And it's always been the running, because I was doing CrossFit before, and I've always been into strength training. So my strength was always on the better side, and my running was always on the worse side. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get into running. So I thought, how can I do that? I know, I'm gonna sign up for a half marathon. So I then signed up for the May half marathon in Manchester. So HYROX was in January, and then the half marathon was in May. And a half marathon is a great distance to build up your endurance for something like HYROX, because you know, you're training to keep your heart rate up for 21.1K. So I did the half marathon after that in the May, trained up for that. My engine improved so much. I got 1:55 in the half marathon, and then the rest is history. Then did the same Manchester HYROX the following January with a different partner, and we got the same time as before, but I felt dramatically fitter. I was barely in zone 4, to be honest. And we got to 1:25, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna see what I can do. I'm gonna sign up for a solo, because I was also training for the Manchester Marathon that same year, which was in April. So January did the same women's doubles open with a friend, Meg, got 1:25. Then in the March did Copenhagen HYROX solo, first HYROX solo during my marathon training block. Did my HYROX solo and got 1:15. Amazing. Like, we'd gone from 1:25 in pairs to doing 1:15 solo, which really filled me with so much confidence as to what I could really do on my own. Then did Manchester Marathon in the April, got 4:01. So did that. That was the hardest thing I ever did. The first time you do anything, it's hard. So just note that when you're signing up for a HYROX. The first one's gonna be hard, but you gotta keep coming back. Then did HYROX London with Kyle. So I did that as a mixed pairs in, I believe that was the May as well. So just after the marathon, actually. And we got 1:09, which was mega considering it was male's weights, but got through, and he did a lot of the weights, to be honest, because I was really struggling. My strength was a bit low post-marathon, and I was a bit overtrained. Like, I definitely needed some time off. But yeah, 2024 was kind of the year of doing too much for me. I think what I'm now gonna tell you just really highlights how I was doing too much, and I did just need some time off, because it was just race after race after race. And then I did the Manchester half, really gave it my all, but I got the same time as I did the year prior, and I hadn't really improved. Things felt better, but I just believe I needed a moment. And that was the first sign that I needed that. But I didn't really listen to it. I thought, I've not done good enough. I need to do more. Really self-critical. And I just thought, let's carry on. Then in the November, I did HYROX Manchester with Elise, which was the first time we did it. We got 1:07, which we did really, really good to get, and was buzzing at that, because that was, again, another PB for women's doubles. And then there was just lots going on. I was caught up in this storm of just not feeling like I was doing enough. I was really beating myself up, trying to do too much, not feeling like I'm doing enough, and really trying to chase, not giving myself time off or time to process everything that I'd achieved, just always wanting more and being a bit toxic to myself. Things really came to a head and I had to just then focus on me for a bit. Then going into 2025, I was meant to race HYROX Manchester with my friend Emily, and then she found out she was pregnant. And so my friend Molly kindly agreed last minute to step in and race with me. She was in a great place. She'd just done a solo, so she was more than capable of doing a pairs with me, and we did really well. We got 107, so similar to what me and Elise got, and had a really great time. But I was doing the work on, you know, not feeling enough, not doing enough, all of this. But things were improving, which was good. And then me and Elise did Hybrid Northwest, which I think still exists, but we did this race. It was outdoors on a track and very similar to HYROX. So a bit less running, a bit more stations, and very similar. And we won, we came first, which was insane. Really enjoyed that. So that was my second race with Elise. And then did the Hybrid Games with Stone in Liverpool last year. And that was loads of fun. And then did the AJ Bell half in May and got 146, but I'd rushed it. And again, I was just doing a bit much and prioritizing everything above the things that I was working really hard on, which includes the half marathon. And I ended up rushing to the start line, which is just not really what you want to be doing. Like, you needed to continue on that, continue on just putting a bit more energy into me. After allowing myself the summer off and things had started to improve, I felt so fit and I'd really just changed my mindset. I'd started to allow myself more recovery time, better fueling strategies, more sleep. I wasn't burning myself to the absolute ground, burning the candle at both ends anymore. And I was also training with a HYROX coach to prep for my HYROX solo, which I did at the end of last year. So yeah, I did the Manchester half, got 142, and I should have got, or could have got, definitely a sub 140, which is definitely my next goal when I'm doing the next half. But I felt really good, but then I got a stitch because I hadn't trained enough with gels. So we just need to accept that. We need to lean into that. We need to use them for what they are and respect that, because if you want to improve, you got to fuel. And that's a big goal for me this year. I know that I'm going to get a sub 140 very soon. Did HYROX Dublin solo as a trial run for then my HYROX London solo that I did late last year. And I got 113 when I did my London solo and I was buzzing. I got my PB. I did really well. When I did my previous solo, you only had to do 75 wall balls at the end. So, you know, we're doing more reps and we shaved off 2 minutes. And reviewing my race footage from 2024, my depth on the wall balls wasn't good enough, as well as probably loads of 4-minute other areas that now you would get called out on. But yeah, I remember being at the end of the solo and I got a few no reps and thinking about the guy that made a video about my wall ball depth from my previous HYROX. Which, you know, the sport has evolved. It's got stricter. When I did that one before, they didn't care. They just let me do my wall balls. And so that was a huge win because that was clear progress. But yes, that brings us to 2026, which this January, I'm going to be doing my second HYROX doubles with Elise in Manchester. It will be my 5th doubles with a female and my 9th HYROX race in total. So I'm very excited for it. So we're doing it again. We're rebuilding our strength. We're respecting our body, our energy, prioritizing fueling. That is a big goal for me this year, is just learn how to fuel my body better, because also making sure that I'm, you know, allowing myself to practice self-love. We don't just need to be doing more and more and more, because the proof is in the pudding that you only get shoved to a certain point. Like, to get these next improvements, I'm gonna have to be a bit kind to myself and keep pushing myself. But yeah, we do these things out of love, and I want to continue to show myself what I'm capable of, because it brings me so much happiness. And I also want to give myself the space and time to reflect on it as well, which is why I partly like making these videos, because that is also something that I've not been very good at. But I do need to recognize like what I am doing for me as well. So if that's you, or if you relate to that, let me know. I think as a woman, like a lot of us are very much like givers, and we need to remember to also like use some of that energy that we give for us, because we're so amazing. So yes, race number 9 is coming. I thought I'd give you guys 5 things to know for race day. Start steady. I mean, I'm quite good at starting steady now. I love starting steady. Sometimes I'll start too steady. So, but on your first HYROX race, if you've never raced before, it'll be hard to start steady. Your adrenaline's gonna be pumping. You're gonna be so nervous and excited. You don't know what's happening. You might be in zone 5 for the full hour and whatever, and that is okay if that happens. The worst thing to do is overthink it. So just try to be as chill as you can. Tip 2, beware of the start pen. It's intense. People in there are all very stressed and nervous. You're in that nervous energy bubble. And just try to be lighthearted. Try just keep chill. Maybe say hi to someone, say good luck. Because though people might look really serious and scary, they're just as nervous as you. So yeah, just spread the positivity, spread the love. Try not to get psyched out by the countdown. Third, use the fast lane when you need it and stay out of it when you don't. Follow the rules, because like there are people that take it really seriously, because we do care. We train hard for these things and it's not cheap, you know, the tickets. So yeah, use the fast lane to overtake when you need it and stay to the right when you don't. Follow the rules. And then also count your laps unless you want a penalty. There's so many ways of doing it. So just count your laps. And then lastly, remember to smile, enjoy the experience. This is definitely something that I need to remember. Like I always hit a moment where I think, why am I doing this? Genuinely, like I think I don't want to be here. I almost bawled my eyes out at my solo in London, but I always hit a moment where I'm like, why am I doing this? This is so hard. This isn't enjoyable. I'd rather be just chilling. Like, why am I doing this? And it's in that moment that you need to know your why. Like you need to drill that into your head, because that moment's gonna come, especially if you're really pushing yourself, and you're gonna need that to get through it so that you don't cry. And crying also isn't good for performers. So stay focused, remember your why. For me, my why is the younger version of me. I wanna prove to her that she can do hard things, and that feeling strong and being capable of doing these incredible things that she never thought that she could do is so beautiful. And to other girls as well in this world of Ozempic and skinny talk, that feeling strong, fit and powerful and just able to experience these things that you're able to experience by doing all of this feels so much more better than being skinny ever could, because I've been there, done that, and this fills me with so much purpose. I definitely still struggle with my moments of self-critique and self-comparison. Like I just want people to know, as a woman, like being strong and fit is the best feeling in the world, and looking after your body, because you only get one, and when you treat it with respect, you get tenfold back. Self-compassion, self-love. You need to like have a genuine why. And yeah, so I like the picture. Younger me, the one that was happy that her friend bailed on her for that first HYROX in 2022. She would not believe what I'm doing now. If you're racing HYROX this week, best of luck. And if you're in a current training block for HYROX, just enjoy it, because we do these things to challenge ourselves, to better ourselves, and it's amazing that we have the time and space to do that. And don't forget to be kind to yourself. And I hope you liked this video. If you did, please do like and subscribe. And if I've missed any tips, or if you've got any words of wisdom for me, drop them below, because definitely can do with more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.